Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop. It's that time of the year. This is mid to late February, and that is when I like to start work in the Heavenly Backyard Garden. Actually, I've been working in the garden over the last several weeks. However, it's time now to start planting. And my first crop that I love to plant this time of the year are the potatoes. And I like to plant the Pontiac Reds and the Yukon Golds. So let's take a look at that. Plus, what else in the garden? I have cauliflower and Brussel sprouts I'm getting ready to plant. I got some wax beans starting and tomato plants as well, cucumbers, all these coming up. And the golden dirt or the golden soil that you want to call great compost. I want to show you how I make mine right here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden. So let's go outside and take a look. What I'm doing here is I'm getting ready to plant my potatoes. I added some composted cow manure and chicken manure to this location, and I also added some superphosphate. The phosphate is good for plants that have below ground growth, such as potatoes, for example. I guess turnips would fit the coin, but I don't like turnips. Anyway, I got the potatoes here, and I'm going to be planting two different kinds. I'm going to plant Yukon Gold, and actually I just planted those right here, and the other one's going to be Pontiac Reds. Now, up in the northern states and northern latitudes, it's too early to plant the potatoes. A lot of the people wait until Good Friday, but here in my location, if I wait until Good Friday, it'll be too late. It'll get too hot and the potatoes just won't do as well. But if I plant them here in mid to late February, they'll be ready by Mother's Day, or at least by Memorial Day or the end of the month of May. I'll be ready to dig the potatoes. So one of the things you got to do is prepare the potato itself, and you want to cut them up so that you have at least 2 eyes per potato cut. You could put the whole potato in the ground, but that's kind of like a waste. But get the potato and cut them, and then let them heal for a couple of days, and that ends up producing a scab, so forth, or what have you, on the cut portion of the potato. Now these potatoes have desperately wanted to grow, so I had no issues with finding the eyes on these potatoes, and they're going to be shooting out of the ground probably within a week to 10 days. They'll be above the ground. So what I do is I just put them in the ground, and just about every 1.5 feet or so, 18 inches, I space them. And just put them in, and then with that, just cover them up. Now, the potatoes like the cool weather. So in the event of a frost, all I have to do is haul the dirt above the vegetation line. That'll protect them. Usually I get 1 frost per year when I grow potatoes, when I plant them this early. But it's well worth it. It's worth the gamble. And here's another row that I'll be putting in. And I'll have several rows of potatoes. And if everything goes right, I'll end up usually anywhere between 5 to 10 times the weight of potatoes that I planted. So if I plant a pound of potatoes, I'll get anywhere between 5 and 10 pounds of fresh potatoes in the late spring. So, as we all would say, is potato. Here is an area where I'm planting Brussels sprouts. This is the first test area. I'm only going to plant 5 or 6 Brussels sprouts in this region here. I'll put the rest in the other area, a much larger area in the garden, about a week later or so. But anyway, I'm going to put 6 Brussels sprouts right here to get things going. I'm going to gamble a little bit. Let's see what happens. This is the secret to good gardening, a compost heap. Now, this is the results of all the green vegetation that I've been, instead of throwing away, I've been piling up over here over the months and years. This is actually about a 2-year pile of compost right here of, well, banana tree trunks, banana leaves, other big leaves, of course grass clippings, leaves, all that are in this compost heap. Now over the year, look what happens. The green composts down into black gold. Look at this. This is great compost. Now it's important that when you compost, do not use any meats whatsoever. If you do, that's going to attract rodents. You don't want rodents. And if you attract rodents, you're going to attract snakes. And that's something else you don't want to do. So, no meat. And besides that, you do not want to add like your kitty litter. No, that's a no-no. Do not add any kind of kitty litter or dog poop. Now, if you have cows and chickens, yeah, you can throw that in here. But basically, just try to stick with green vegetative matter and let it rot over time. The expression, let it rot, because it's going to give you some great compost. Matter of fact, let's take a look at the lily garden as I've been adding this compost to the lilies besides the vegetables. Let's take a look. Now, here's one of my lily gardens, one of many, and this is the compost that I've been adding from that heap right over there. And this is just, to me, it looks like black gold. And hopefully it will result in some very fine, healthy growth for these daylilies. Hopefully these leaves will be nice and dark green like they are right now, maybe even a little bit darker green. And hopefully the plants will be more prolific and the blooms will be more robust. Well, that's what we're hoping for anyway. And that will be shown in May, June, and July. Most of these will be peaking right around the end of May and early June, but I'll be getting blooms from early May, actually maybe even late April, in through June, through July in most cases as well. But I'll be keeping you posted right here on my YouTube channel on how these lilies, well, not just these lilies, but all the other lilies that I have out in the yard as well, along with the vegetables. Now over here, this trough I built, a raised bed. It's about 18 inches high, it's 8 feet long and 2 feet wide. And I use this to grow my bush beans. And the first crop I'm going to plant are these wax beans. And oh my gosh, the flavor of these wax beans is just undescribable. It is so good. A nutty flavor green bean basically, but it's wax, it's yellow in color. Anyway, I'll be planting those in this area next week. I already got the seeds started in the greenhouse. I have, let's see here, 24, I think I have 24 seeds planted in the greenhouse. And I'll be putting those in this area next week, early March. And hopefully no severely cold weather will come in across the region. And if it does though, I can cover these up, so that's good. I can cover it up with sheets and protect them in the event of cool weather. Hey little guy. Grisabella, you want to come over and say hello? Mm-hmm. Say hello to the camera. Hi, Grisabella. And also with this garden here, I'll be putting in composted chicken manure along with some 10-10-10. And I got a vicious guard cat to keep out the squirrels. Not really. Her cuteness will scare them away. So I'll be doing a lot more work out here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden over the next several weeks. As things are waking up right now, we're warming into the 80s here in southeastern Georgia and southern South Carolina. It's kind of a little bit above normal for this time of the year. Normal high is about 65 degrees. Anyway, we're getting well above that. And again, the vegetation is already waking up from its winter sleep. And I've been mixing in this compost with the vegetations themselves and cleaning out all the dead branches and leaves and what have you, and getting things ready to go. Hopefully I won't get a hard freeze, but if I do, I have some preventions that I could install to help with that. But hopefully it looks like it's going to be a warm late winter for our area, and then as we go into spring, even though it cools down, we'll be warming up enough so that I should be able to escape any hard freezes. So that's some good sign. Of course, northern latitudes, you're going to have to wait a little bit before you can get going into the garden. I know some areas you can't even dig because the ground is frozen, but we'll have to deal with that later. Well, the weather's going to be cooperating, it looks like, as I mentioned. Let's take a look at that 6-week weather outlook, and it's calling for temperatures to be well above normal for the next 7 to 10 days in my area here, and looking at the beginning of March above normal, going into the middle of March, and then around normal for the middle to end of March, and then slightly above normal. So things are looking good. By after that time, even below normal will keep me above freezing and frosting across my area. So I'm looking fairly well around here. Now, don't forget, I'll be live on Fridays right here on my YouTube channel, somewhere around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a major storm plummeting the northern portion of the country right now. And what about us? What about any storminess for the southeast United States? Well, I'll take a look at that, and plus all the other contents of the weather conditions and the sky. What's up in the sky? A little preview. Jupiter and Venus are getting closer and closer and closer to each other in appearance in the western sky. So, you know, if the sky is clear, it looks like it's going to be here for a couple of nights. Get out and look at the planets at sunset. You'll see those two bright objects. You can't miss them, and watch each night as they get closer and closer to each other. Well, until Friday, I live on Fridays. I'll see you later right here on YouTube.